Hi, welcome to Play It Loud. David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust, an iconic album and an iconic artist. This isn't about the album. You probably know it. Most people do. It's one of those that everybody's heard at some stage. It made its mark in the same way as David Bowie did. I don't want to talk about the album. It's a great album. I want to talk about 1972 Festival Hall Ziggy Stardust show. And Bowie, he's iconic for a reason, and it's just possible. Those who weren't around at the time don't realise quite how important he was, quite how important he is. Let's start with the show. Really nice show, great sound, played I think nearly everything off of the album, few tracks off of Hunky Dory before it, and was then joined by Lou Reed at the end. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I remember a lot about Lou Reed. At the time, I don't think I'd heard of him. I remember that the show was largely acoustic to start with, and Bowie's album that I knew, the first one, the blue one, the one with Space Oddity, that was largely acoustic. He was almost a folk artist. And the acoustic stuff that he did that night at the Festival Hall was fantastic. The loud stuff was quite different. And towards the end of the show, he and Lou Reed played 3 or 4 tracks. White Light, White Heat, I'm Waiting for My Man. I can't remember the others. What I do remember is it was the start of heavy metal from my perspective. It was very loud, very clever, but not the Bowie that I'd come to know on Ziggy Stardust. It had only been out a week or so before the concert, and I'd been fortunate enough to have a friend who'd brought a copy. I'd heard it. In fact, we played it all the previous weekend. I knew it very well. It was a terrific concert. Now let me put Bowie in context of that time, because homosexuality had been made legal before then, but being legal doesn't make it acceptable. And to most people in those days, it wasn't acceptable. I think the vast majority of, I'd call them gays, didn't come out. They kept it to themselves. If they didn't keep it to themselves, at worst, they risked a beating. They could lose their job. They could be ostracised. It was a completely different world to the one today. And again, I'll try and put this in perspective. I had a lot of hair then, ancient hippie, that's what I call myself. And a friend of mine, guy who was my best man at my wedding, he and I had come back from Belgium on a trip, and we'd got off at Dover, went to see a relation in Broadstairs, had to get a bus, waiting for the bus in the summer, very hot, lovely. I've got long hair, he's got long blonde hair. We went into the local pub, and 5 minutes later we're legging it down the road as fast as we can, because they didn't want people who looked like us in their pub. And we thought we were relatively normal. Compared to the gay community, we had no problems. What Bowie did was to dress like a woman, to come on in a manner that suggested that he could be man or woman or both. And at that time, to come out and do that and do it on TV, on stage, in the papers, that must have taken some guts. He led a path, started a path that got us to where we are today. And no doubt there's hundreds of other people who could take some credit for it as well. But without Bowie, without Ziggy Stardust, without that change, you wouldn't believe. Gay pride marches, clubs, discos. Come on. There was a May Ball in London, but it was kept very quiet. There might have been similar events in other places in the country. But no, if you were, and if you looked like Bowie in those days, you were running one hell of a risk. So next time you listen to Ziggy Stardust, just remember what it did, what he did, because it's important. And it's a great album. Play it loud.